Hi everyone, myself Amarjeet Singh, and I am going to talk about the topic of the cloud adoption framework aligned with the well architecture framework. So let's talk about it, what it is. Um, so the business objectives which our customers are having as of today. The COVID-19 has posed a challenge to customers' business success, and expert says when they talk with expert that how what can help me. So the expert says that the public cloud adoption has proven itself one of the drivers for saving the cost for running the operations in the existing data centers, and for the innovations as well. When you want to adopt new business models and want to build fast, then also the cloud has proven itself. That's what expert says. But the common answer from our customers, which we get to hear, what it is. The common answer is that my portfolio is very complex, and I don't even have the right skill and experience to do the cloud migrations, trigger my cloud adoption journey. But then we being a partner, how we are helping our customer, we understand the context very well. We understand their objectives around business, which are reducing the operational cost for the existing landscape, adopting new business models, and tapping to the new market. Also at the same time make sure that their landscape applications are running on a reliable platform and secure as well. Now it is when we try to mitigate these challenges for customers, it brings up another challenges, and those challenges are around the complexity of the portfolio, which they say like customer may not have the right skill and experience to trigger their journey with their own. And also the technical debt is one of the common problem which we have seen with the customers existing landscape. Also sometime it might happen that there are customer teams, excellent technical teams, cloud COEs, they are doing some work in some space, but that is really in silos. It is not at the enterprise scale level for the customer. And now that's why the need of the hour is the cloud adoption framework aligned with the well architecture framework, or the enterprise scale architecture blueprints, which needs to be defined for our customer, and then their cloud migration journey has to be triggered. How do we do that? So part of One Deliver, we have defined the cloud adoption framework, and with this framework we are trying to answer all the questions to our customers, the challenges which they are having. We are trying to mitigate those challenges, and with those challenges, when we do this journey for our customer, we are able to make them happy. And now what this cloud adoption framework is, basically let's try to understand it, what it is. So the cloud adoption framework, it is a three-step framework which we have defined. The advise, define, build and run. Advise is more about helping the customer in defining their cloud migration strategy, putting a plan forward, and estimating it, and then identifying all the prerequisites for them. Also in the define phase, helping them to define the target operating model. And once that target operating model is defined, then helping them to be ready with all the prerequisites. When these prerequisites are defined and set, and customers are ready, then helping them to trigger the cloud migration journey, which is build and run. Build is all about adoption of the cloud migrations, and do the innovations on the cloud migration and public cloud space. Once everything is there, then manage it. But what I have just explained, is it something new to the people? So customers are also having excellent technical teams, cloud migration COEs. Probably they would also be knowing all these things. It's a pretty standard approach, which not only defined by One Deliver, but every cloud providers like Azure, AWS, they also have defined all this cloud adoption framework. But what really makes the change? So based upon our experience, and while we have helped our customer to adopt the cloud migration journey, what we have observed and our experience, what it says, while it is being done by different teams, there is one of the important aspect of it which most of the time is missed, and that is to defining it with well architected framework and looking at a bigger picture which is at the enterprise scale level. And this is where our experience of helping multiple customers, we keep helping our customer further with our experience. And what that experience says, that there are 8 design areas of the well architected framework which has to be think about, which has to be put into your blueprint. And if you are able to put that into your blueprint, then your success rate of a cloud migration engagement increase. And what are those areas? You can see on this screen. The first one is enterprise enrollment and Azure AD tenant. So most of the time these are the things which are sometimes teams misses when they start with the cloud adoption framework and they start defining their architecture blueprint for cloud to be architectures. But what should be done about it? So the enterprise enrollment and Azure AD tenant, we should basically start from the organization structure. But how that organization structure is related to cloud migration journey or adoption? It's a question. And the question is, to answer this question, which any technical team or architect should answer to themselves, when it is being defined, it has to be thought through from the cost center into the organizations. The structure of the organizations are nothing but different BUs and cost centers for owning this landscape, the applications and portfolio. So when we are helping the customer to define the cloud adoption framework, this should be the starting point. And when we are defining it, so basically here what we are saying, the AD tenant and engagement model has to be defined in such a way that when we are managing and monitoring and running these workloads, we are able to define these workloads into a cost center, and that cost center can be attached to an organization department. So that is the first design focus area which has to be there. The second one which you see, identity access management. So most of the time what has been noticed, or what we have seen, that the cloud architects, technical teams, they look at this topic of the design from the authentication and authorization perspective of the application and platform. But is it really limited to that area only? No. The scope of this design area is probably a bit bigger, and that bigger, when I say that scope is bigger, means although the authentication and authorization is one of the important aspect of the identity access management, but it has to be looked at from the process and people perspective as well. When I say process and people, when these workloads and blueprint which is being defined goes on cloud, there are certain roles, certain activities which would be done to migrate and manage these workload on the cloud. And for these activities to be done, the identity access management would have certain roles defined into the existing Active Directory of the customer in the form of OUs. Those OUs has to be assessed, and then those OUs has to be aligned based upon the target operating model which has been defined, so that it can be seamlessly migrated or integrated with the identity access management on cloud as well as at on-premise. So that is the second design area, which and this is how it has to be thought through when a architecture blueprint for cloud is being put. The third one is the management group and subscription. So again, what we have seen that the technical teams most of the time, when they look at the management group and subscriptions, they think about the cost management aspect around this design area. But that should not be really the case. this design area basically has to be thought about when these workloads which are going to be on cloud, how my management groups and subscription hierarchy going to be, so that the security policies, roles, applying those security policies and role becomes easier on those set of applications. So what I'm trying to say, when we are migrating these workloads on cloud, the categorizations of the applications and workloads should be done into management groups and different environment into the subscription in such a way that these common security policies can be applied to a common set of the applications. Also, while these design aspects are being defined for the landscape and applications, we need to think about the level or the hierarchy of the management group. At max, it can go up to 6 level deep when we are defining the management group hierarchy. But I think idea should not be going up to 6 levels. We should keep it as flat as flat we can keep it, so that the management of these workloads becomes easier. Yeah. Now the fourth one is the network topology and connectivity. So this is the key of your blueprint. When workloads and applications are moving to cloud, it is one of the key area, and most of the time what we have seen that the architects, technical team, they take this design area as a starting point and they start defining the topology of the applications and workload on cloud. But is that the only aspect which we should look at when we are defining the network topology? No, there are certain other aspects also which makes your cloud migration of the applications at the enterprise scale level. The architectures and blueprints are also at the enterprise scale level. So to do that from that perspective, what should be done is look at the landscape, how the applications are running at on-premise in the intranet facing mode and internet facing mode. Also, the important thing which needs to be considered, while these applications are running into intranet and internet mode, how are the users of these applications and workloads are spread across the globe, which are the Azure or let's say cloud region, which are very close to these users. And when we are so the placement of the workloads and applications, when we are moving them on cloud, the location on the cloud is one of the important aspect. So it's a trade-off between the getting your applications and workloads close to the users who are using it. Also, from the deployment perspective, security compliance is one of the important aspects which needs to be think at while we are moving the application from one location to another. So the security compliance is like GDPR and other security compliance. Are we violating any of the compliance or it is in compliance? All these things has to be thought through well when we are defining the network topology and connectivity for the architecture blueprint. Then the fifth one is the management and monitoring. So the management and monitoring, again, this is also one of the important aspect of the architecture blueprint. What we have seen that most of the time technical team, when they are doing the solution for the management and monitoring, they look at the tool standardization as one of the important aspect. Which are the monitoring tool we are going to use? Is it approved by customer or not? Can we use them in the customer environment, out of the customer environment? These are the questions which generally comes in, and teams work on solutioning around these questions. But I think apart from that, there are few things which should be considered, and those few things are, when we are building the solution around monitoring, one of the important aspects which teams should think about is what basically we want to monitor, what kind of reports we want to generate, and when we are generating those reports, are these reports actually giving the benefit to the customer in any sense? And that sense could be Is it giving me some action to improve the cost, to optimize the cost, right size my applications workloads, or it is giving me some indication that some of the applications which are running on IS mode as of now can be moved to PaaS or containerized mode. Is it giving me that kind of indications, or is it giving me the indication about security compliance? The workload and platform which is running on cloud, is it running under some security threats? So all these things needs to be thought through well. And then what we are monitoring, what we are capturing, is it centralized or it is per application based? So these are the things which needs to be think through. And the fifth design area, which is management and monitoring, should be help us to build the blueprint around that. Now the sixth one is the business continuity and disaster recovery. So this design area again, what basically we are trying to do here. So in business continuity and disaster recovery, the design aspect which should be thought about is what are my business critical applications and what are the non-business critical applications. We should be categorizing those applications into different buckets, because when we bring the availability, disaster recovery, implementation for applications, it brings the trade-off between the cost of operations and how much we are spending on cloud. Why? Because when we are trying to meet the RTI and RTO and RPO KPIs for our applications, then the backup strategy is one of the important aspects which comes in picture. And when it comes to backup, it is always a cost. When we are doing the backup on the per day, per hour, or per week, per server, per application, all these things when moving into backup is something which are adding up cost to my existing landscape. So all these things has to be trade off well when we are thinking about the business continuity and disaster recovery. Then the security governance and compliance, the seventh design area. While the blueprint is being defined, at each and every stage, we should not forget about the security governance and compliance part of it. The last one is the platform automation and DevOps. So again, when the blueprint is defined, so the platform automation and DevOps around this blueprint is all about people, process, and how that process is integrated with different tools. So as I have explained the 8 design areas for the well architecture framework, or when we are defining the blueprint at enterprise scale level, what OneDeliver has done. Part of OneDeliver, based upon our experience of helping multiple customers, we have built our accelerators around all these design areas, which are need of the hour for our customers, and which should be part of the journey when we are helping the customer for cloud adoption framework. So the DevSec adoption framework is one of the accelerators which we have built part of OneDeliver, and the design principle around this area is the key is the reusability and standardization. So whatever is being built, whether it's the continuous integration, continuous deployment, monitoring, security, continuous quality, whatever approach or whatever design aspect is being built in your architecture blueprint, it has to be built on a principle of reusability and standardization. So when I say reusability and standardization, if customer need to repeat the blueprint for another set of applications, another set of workloads, they should be able to repeat it seamlessly. And that is what our DevSecOps adoption framework says. And when we are building this reusability and standardization approach into these artifacts, then security should be the integral part of it. So like the assessment of the code by through the continuous deployment, continuous integrations, the platform provisioning when it is happening through the scripts, it has to be done through the analysis tools which are there, part of it. Then the second you see is the accelerator which is there is the reference architecture. So the cloud reference architecture, it cut across identity access management, network connectivity, and topology, business continuity, and disaster recovery. These are the key technical areas which needs to be defined into our architecture blueprint. And our already defined cloud reference architecture, which is cloud agnostic, focused on 9 pillars, and those 9 pillars are covering all the 8 design areas end to end. And by referring this Bible document of the OneDeliver, it cuts source lot of the brainstorming, lot of the discussions back and forth, and teams can easily take the reference of the already defined architecture blueprint, and then they can map it with their existing requirements. Then the second accelerator which we have put in place, pretty much from the DevSecOps adoption framework, the principle of reusability and standardization. What we have done, all the templates, scripts for the provisioning of the platform, landing zones, and deployment of the applications, and building of the container image. All these aspects has been built into CloudBoost library in the set of templates and scripts, which eventually gives us configuration as a code, pipeline as a code, and deployment as a code. So all these infrastructure as a code, all these aspects are built as a service in the form of template and scripts, which can be mapped with the customer requirement and can be easily reused for the architecture blueprint, save the cost for customers for cloud adoption and migrations. Then the next one is the cloud automation, and it is one of the element of the CloudBoost library. The template and scripts for automation are integrated into the continuous deployment and continuous integration approach. Now the second, the last one which you see is the security and quality. So while we help the customer to migrate the workload, do the innovations, cloud native build, or in all these approaches, when the continuous integrations, continuous deployment, all these approaches are being built, then security is something which has to be baked or integrated in the form of different steps into this end-to-end process, and that should be done in such a way that it has to be monitored, and we can see the result of it through the process even before going the workloads and application on the production. Yeah. Then while all these 8 design areas are considered, we have used our OneDeliver accelerators. This is how the enterprise scale blueprint can look like. If you look at this blueprint, it will start with the enrollment of the customers, workloads, and application into it. Then identity access management, then connectivity of these identity access management or this landscape with the on-premise systems and hybrid cloud scenarios, third-party systems which could be there for customer, and then hierarchy of all the management groups, subscriptions, and different environment of the application, and how Spoke, which is nothing but the application specific components which are running into the cloud as a landing zone, how those has to be defined, starting from the different environment of it, dev, test, prod, pre-prod, and then how everything is baked into the DevOps approach for that. So now when all these things are done in this way, what it brings the key benefits on the table, and those benefits are cost optimization, operational excellence, performance efficiency, reliability, secure and always compliant landscape running on the cloud. And so we have done it multiple times. So let's discuss the customer cases. So this is the customer who is in pioneer in the ATM manufacturing domain. For this customer, what we have the requirement which we got, that there was the customer team, they built their cloud platform with their own using the cloud adoption framework from the cloud providers. But what happened when they built this cloud platform on the cloud? as a result, they saw that they are ending up paying more because they were lagging on few of the aspects like right sizing of the portfolio or workloads when they are being migrated to cloud. Performance also degraded in some of the cases, means the selection of the services was not mapped properly as per the requirement, and in some cases the cloud platform design also was having some gaps. Eventually they were not able to put a cloud operating model in a right way. So we have helped this customer to do the gap analysis so that they are able to mitigate those challenges of bringing the cost in control, also making the performance issues, solve the performance issues for the applications, and putting the people, process and tool in a right way aligned with the architecture blueprint so that the target operating model is as per the requirement. And by doing the gap assessment, we did the delta customization in the existing landscape for the customer, and we were able to give these benefits to this customer, which is more around faster environment provisioning, which is around reusability and standardization design principle, use of these scripts, templates, also the better management of the workload and applications by putting the right target operating model in place. Then the second customer case, this customer is in automobiles and insurance domain. So for this customer, they had a cloud COE. They were able to do the cloud adoption framework and well architecture framework on the AWS. For the Azure, they were looking for a partner. We have helped this customer to build the cloud platform and apply the cloud adoption framework aligned with the enterprise scale architecture on Azure. And we were able to bring the similar benefit for this customer as well, which is the faster provisioning, the benefit around the operational operations in alignment with the target operating model, and having the portfolio applications landscape always secure and compliant. Okay, so with all explanation which I did, and the way we have helped our customers to mitigate their challenges around the cloud adoption journey, using the one deliver accelerators, nuggets, and the blueprint approach, using the 8 design areas around the enterprise scale architecture, we are able to make our customers happy. And we would be happy to connect more and more on this front, not only with our customer, but with our internal teams as well. Thank you, team.